So hey guys, the series name is What If Naruto Have Power of Otsutsuki Clan. This is second part of the series, so let's start the series. Naruto entered the constructing in the front of him, with a smirk in his face. In a couple of minutes they have been status in the front of a blonde female with form of creepy eyes, and she simply excluded an aura that said Prat. He looked at her for a minute before turning in the direction of Takagi. So we are purported to protect the blonde Prat? Rhetorically asked Naruto, which brought about Takagi and Yoshimura to chortle and the rest of the council to move pink from anger. Boy, watch your mouth, as he is the priestess. And her name is Cheyenne, no longer Prat, stated a member of the council. Which Naruto didn't even bother to research his name. You assert Cheyenne and I listen, Prat, replied Naruto, looking at the slightly amused face of Cheyenne. You may die, stated Cheyenne plainly. With no emotion you can be impaled inside the chest by using a monster first rate. I'm so scared, spoke back Naruto. Grasped Naruto. Take note of her warnings. She will see the future, warned Yoshimura. Yeah. I recognize she sees the demise of peoples, however I have awful information for you, priestess. I'm able to not die. Not until I reap my aim and I have at least meet my nephews, stated Naruto with his trademark grin. Silly boy, you realized nothing. I wished it became that easy, but my visions usually come actual, stated a visibly indignant Cheyenne, showing feelings for the first time on account that their assembly. You already know you job my memory of a boy who had a fixation with fate until I beat it out of him, responded Naruto. My visions cannot be changed, relied Cheyenne again in her monotone voice. You recognize I am tempted to truly hit a lady for the first time in my existence, stated Naruto telepathically to Takagi, which made Takagi laugh. Yeah, simply be patient, said Naruto defiantly. Enough with this disrespect in the direction of the priestess, or we will. Threatened a member of the council earlier than being interrupted by way of Naruto. What? Hire the Leaf Crew. You may now, not because you need the pleasant and I'm the best, so close up and let me do my process, stated Naruto as an alternative, indignant. Why do councils have to be pricks with a stick shoved up their asses everywhere? Naruto, you may not fall to their level, stated Takagi in a calm voice, however that confirmed splendid unhappiness. Sure, sensei, said Naruto with a mild bow towards Takagi. Very well, and you may no longer disrespect him anymore, or else there will now not be a land of demons. Understood, said Takagi. The closing component in he said in a demonic voice, and the council members nodded. Well, we are able to be retiring to our rooms, stated Takagi, and as he became leaving the room he brought and via the way we are able to be snoozing inside the room next to the priestess. As Takagi and Naruto were taking walks alongside the hallways closer to their transient room, Naruto looked definitely indignant, and he entered the room so irritated you can, in reality, steam coming from his ears. As soon as they entered the room they could be status in. Naruto summoned a few chakra ink and guided it with his chakra to form into a triangular seal which glowed blue earlier than turning into completely invisible. Takagi sat on a chair and smiled. You did very well, commented Takagi. Are you sure? Might not the spy get suspicious that we used a mental channel that can be spied and vary without problems? Asked Naruto. No, considering the fact that there are only a few that may in reality try this, he would suppose that we failed to assume that everybody ought to try this. So we were very lax on protection, replied Takagi, removing a pipe and started out smoking a nasty-smelling herb, which truly made the brain work even higher. Significantly, paranoia is the sign of a true ninja. However, then again, I'm no longer precisely a ninja, said Naruto with a shrug. Certainly, permits simply hope Orochimaru falls to your reckless mindset act, said Takagi. I nonetheless do not get it how Orochimaru is extra risky then, the complete Akatsuki? Asked Naruto. He is, due to the fact he's a genius, a mad genius. But a genius, however, and the fact that he is crazy only makes him more dangerous, responded Takagi. Yes, I understand you can foresee what a sane man or woman could do, however now not what a crazy individual might routinely, recited Naruto. Proper, now get a few sleep. You'll need it, stated Takagi, getting up. See you in some days, Gramps, said Naruto, laying down on his mattress, no longer before making a few other seals, just to be at the safe aspect. Do not worry, in case you need me, I'll be there, said Takagi. Like there is anything obtainable which can damage me, said Naruto. There are, said Takagi. You significantly misplaced your humorousness, stated Naruto, pouting. Nicely. 3,000 years of life do this to someone, answered Takagi, chuckling. But in case you survive this project, I can teach you the remaining cheat, one taught to me by the Emperor himself. Really? What is it? requested Naruto. You may discover once I teach it to you. It's no longer which you don't have better or more versatile cheats in your private Emperor cheat guidebook. But this one is quite tremendous, commented Takagi before disappearing in a cold blue flash. A flash with the identical color of his eyes. Naruto puzzled what powers did those eyes supply to the vintage guy. In all likelihood a lot, seeing as those eyes ought to block the Rinnegan itself, not anything to worry, even though a cheater ought to by no means turn towards its grasp or their bloodline. Without permit from a totally fledged emperor, they were the equal of Anbu and Root Anbu, loyal to the end. Sleep claimed him after a while, before he awakened to screams of Fellow's demise. The odor of charred flesh, the coppery smell of blood and big chakra spikes. He became up in a second, his sword in his hand, and in a flash he became outside in the courtyard. Naruto saw the first sight of a carnage. Every other war he had fought have been brief, the least bloody he could control. Even his heavenly retribution became all enemies into ash. However, this changed into a real carnage, made by folks who cherished pain and blood, and they'd pay. He didn't have any illusions. He too was evil, but at least he granted his enemies a short dying. He turned into an evil the sector needed. He noticed them firing hearth jutsu towards the guards which had been trapped in Genjutsu. He stopped to use examine on his enemies. Kusuna LVL, 38, Jitai LVL, 34, Setsuna LVL, 34, Shizuka LVL, 34. They were not a great deal of a hazard, but he could play it cautiously. Although chakra ink flowed from his inventory, and guided via his chakra it created a circle which flared with a vivid crimson color, creating a massive dome of yellowish energy which averted everybody from entering or leaving the monastery. The four ninjas saw the pink glowing seal and without delay went in the direction of it to damage it. Fools! They act as street brawlers and not as ninja, though Naruto, before performing behind the ninja named Shizuku, and with a silent swipe of his sword his head departed his shoulders. Before the blood splatters ought to contact him, Naruto retreated in a small bamboo wooded area that this men had planted inside the monastery. From inside the wooded area he created 100 shadow clones and placed them to paintings on seals, for whilst his opponent have been susceptible, being organized was the second golden rule of ninjas. The first become to kill silently and quick. The three last ninjas had stopped and had accumulated return to back. Clever, however useless, as he flashed to the closest of them. His name was Jitai, and with a brief minimize of his wind chakra more desirable blade, he changed into now headless. The ultimate two tried for the ultimate time to reach the seal and smash it in order that they could escape. But it wasn't suggest to be, as two portions of paper seemed beneath their feet, and certainly one of them produced a violet hearth which engulfed and killed Setsuna, while the other piece of paper absorbed Kusuna. And with that the conflict turned into over. Naruto walked over to the corpses of the two decapitated ninja and positioned a bit of paper on their bodies. The papers glowed before burning themselves in the bodies, leaving nothing past ashes, and at the identical time filling Naruto's head with records regarding them. The facts he were given made him frown. The demon, or as a minimum one half of him anyhow, had determined a manner to provide them a number of his strength. No wonder they have been appearing so mindlessly. He turned round to look the amazed faces of the guards. He did not care, so he walked beyond them and in the direction of the council, which had arrived best moments in advance, and they too were amazed at the demonstration, even though the yellowish dome of electricity disappeared. Some display of electricity became wanted, particularly in the event that they had been to trick Orochimaru into wondering that he turned into reckless and a show-off. "Did you enjoy the demonstration?" requested Naruto as he passed by means of them. He could not manage a smile, but he managed a peculiar grin. He had killed, what did they count on of him? He had simply killed 3 geisas and changed into approximately to interrogate every other. He did not anticipate for an answer, however, walked beyond them. On his manner to his room he saw the blonde lady hugging one of the guards and whispering something to him. She turned around and saw Naruto with a bowled-over expression, which supposed that the man or woman she turned into hugging were stored by using him. However, as to why that could shock the woman so much he didn't get. Cheyenne neared him with an expression that appeared like shyness, however he knew it was the pleasure she turned into swallowing. "Naruto, I came here to thanks for saving my buddy. His call is," said Cheyenne, swallowing her pleasure. "Erasure," stated Naruto, surprising Cheyenne even similarly. "How did you know?" requested Cheyenne. "Due to the fact I'm dying, the destroyer of worlds, and I do not like being cheated," said Naruto in a scary tone. Scary Cheyenne and her 2 guards earlier than guffawing at loud kidding. I heard one of the guards name him by using his call, and that I memorized it as any ninja might besides thanks. Maybe fate isn't always set in stone, she said, blushing from the embarrassment of being scared and letting it display. I advised you so, stated Naruto, slipping back into his immature character. Very well. See you the following day, said Cheyenne as she grew to become around to depart, vibrant pink from anger and embarrassment. K. And do not take any of your guards with us, stated Naruto, turning round. Why? Cheyenne requested, while her imagination commenced to run wildly at what the reason became. My journey very speedy, and they'd only postpone us. And at the same time as I can bring you on my again. I can't carry them around, said Naruto as he entered his room. Naruto unsealed the body of Kasuna and right now activated his Rinnegan. He located his hand on Kasuna's brow and activated his human root potential soul Trojan horse. Without delay, information entered his mind because the soul of Kasuna screamed in his fingers. Now not then, absolutely everyone who hadn't the Rinnegan or as a minimum the Mangekyo Sharingan could listen or see him. He permit the soul visit the afterlife. He hadn't gotten a great deal more facts that with the rest of his crew, although he had used Soul Worm on him, the most superior capacity of the human direction, that he knew besides. It allowed him to extract the soul and take in all of its expertise and abilities, but he could not do yet the skill component, and additionally it wasn't alleged to kill the character it turned into use. Naruto disposed of the body with the seal that produced the crimson flames. That aspect was a lifestyle saver. It totally destroyed an unmarried object. Except the seal become modified for different purposes. It failed to release any smoke and it emitted no scent. Not even an Inuzuka dog should tell that a person was incinerated on that room. As he laid at the mattress, his mind replayed on his healthy with Kakashi. He became superb, he knew it, but still without his Rinnegan, or the fur ball's chakra, he turned into way beneath the S rank. Possibly a low A rank, but despite the fact that Kakashi had abandoned his education absolutely, he could nonetheless be at least a high A rank. And when the suit changed into over, he actually seemed relieved. It had probably something to do with the Stone Army. Golems to be more actual, but they did not realize it. They have been simply difficult stone puppets, and it might be better if they stored wondering that due to the fact that would mean that they might nevertheless hope that there has been a wish to break them. In fact, they have been fortunate the demon become handiest one half wide awake. In any other case the golem military could be invincible, by using ninja approach of path, and they would have lost by now. That suppose the fit turned into just a way to gauge his capabilities, and reputedly he changed into thrilled. Naruto suspected it had something to do with his flying thunder god, Leisure Park. He had created it to compensate for his gradual progress with the authentic flying thunder god. The technique practically allowed one to defeat even fighters as powerful as Madara or Hashirama Senju, but that become in case you had been a true grasp of it, and he wasn't. Hell, he doubted if his father had the essential mastery over it. In spite of him being the one who converted the jutsu from a Kenjutsu guide approach right into a weapon of mass destruction, Naruto banished the one's thoughts and emptied his thoughts. This method allowed his body to go to sleep faster, and require 1 hour much less sleep, as he even though sleep claimed him in much less than a minute after activating his semi-meditation nation. His sleep became bothered by means of a dream that became remarkably much like the imaginative and prescient that Cheyenne had informed him approximately. He wakened in the morning sopping wet in sweat. A quick water jutsu in the lower backyard of the temple took care of that. He modified garments to be more much like the ones his father wore at the same time as in missions. It wasn't that he changed into trying to replicate him, or whatever. However, that outfit turned into the most ideal, while in operations that required stealth. After all, he did not want to attract the attention of a thousands-year antique demon by means of wearing orange as tons as it pained him to give up on orange. Cheyenne became waiting inside the courtyard wearing a white shirt, brown pants and a vanilla-colored coat. Flanking her were her dependable protector Teruho and the participants of the council, which with the aid of the way have been looking definitely pissed off except for Yoshimura, and even she was a chunk concerned. What is this travesty I have heard of? Boy, spat a male member of the council. What? You ultimately found out the one's gowns you're carrying are a criminal offense against all mankind's eyes? Requested Naruto nonchalantly. Sufficient, you little, stated the council member. Enough, Takeda, prevent this nonsense. He's a kid for crying out loud, and you call for of him to act consistent with a hard and fast of policies he would not even know, said Yoshimura in a stern voice that triggered everybody gift to cringe. Naruto protected, and to make it worse you treat him like he turned into your servant, when he is the only who will protect the high priestess. display greater respect like he merits it, said the now named Takeda. With a very low voice, did you assert something, Takeda? Asked Yoshimura in an all-too-candy voice. And no, nothing, said Takeda. Quick, nicely, this is settled then, young Naruto. You can now depart toward this vacation spot, stated Yoshimura in an impartial voice, and far from this morons she delivered in a voice that only Naruto and Cheyenne heard. Hop on, stated Naruto, pointing to his back. With reluctance she was hoping on Naruto's return, and she felt herself being tied through a few invisible pressure into Naruto's again. Naruto without delay jumped across the wall of the temple and landed some dozen meters away. Cheyenne shrieked from surprise, but after a few dozen other jumps like that she subsequently comfy. Whilst they had been jumping throughout trees, Naruto could not shake the sensation that something bad became going to show up quickly sufficient, and now not one to disregard his sixth feel. He created a few hundreds clones which fast spread through the forest, sealing scrolls that prepared for any emergency. Incredibly, Cheyenne failed to ask any query, however, simply stared at the clones for a second. Earlier than returning lower back to her brooding, fortunately his suspicion became proved incorrect, and the day went on without a trouble even when they crossed the border among the land of demons and the land of fangs. Her paused a couple of hours after they crossed the border. The solar was placing, and the foliage of the wooded area was dense enough to hide them from the eyes of all but the most proficient ninja. Then an element to the seals he had positioned around the campsite to prevent every person from locating it. The seals worked as a subtle concept that informed one to depart the vicinity without nicely checking it, and best people with the most powerful self-discipline ought to undergo them. One of these elements could most effective be performed by using an S-rank ninja and some high A rank, but although they did bypass through them he might understand, and it might take him precisely 30 seconds to depart the camp, collectively with the PRA, Air Excessive Priestess in education, and detonate a whole shit-load of changed explosive tags. He unsealed 2 tents, and called a number of his clones to assist set the camp even as he went to meditate, and have a talk with the fur ball. He located a secluded region within a minute. It changed into a small excluded clearing, even more so than a normal clearing inside the forest. Within the middle there was a stump of a tree and a few vegetation that he couldn't make out in the dim mild provided from the moonlight that found its way via the dense foliage of the forest, and he couldn't trouble to set off his studies simply to discover their names. Naruto sat down at the tree stump within the lotus position and cleared his thoughts, and willed himself to go into his mindscape. As soon as that was a tedious mission, he could not stay nonetheless for long till he observed out that because of his abnormally massive reserves of chakra, so Takagi had given him a few chakra storage seals to pour his more chakra into them, allowing him to honestly stay still for extra than 1/2 an hour, and to always have extra chakra in the always fetched case he is probably running low. He felt himself being pulled into his mindscape. The sensation wasn't bothersome into itself, however. For someone who turned into looking to get entry to mental powers, the sensation become pretty unnatural, especially on account that he become education to challenge his thoughts outside of his frame in place of internal, but the mindscape turned into the ideal place to assess your development, because it contained what you had found out, or even your reflexes, but he had learned to stay far away from them. Per week of having tickled each time the wind blew over his skin had taught him that his mindscape changed into designed after a giant mountain that in no way ended, full of caves that held reminiscences, matters he had discovered, skills and many others, that made it tough for a person entering his mind to take manage, mainly because the mountain changed into usually moving, and that stopped simplest when he become inerrant. He quick made its manner to Kurama, or rather he willed himself there. When you consider that internal a mindscape will and thought had been the only element that mattered, the cage looked the same as ever, although in case you appeared internal you would notice that the space turned into countless and packed with stuff that the fox preferred not that you can inform, considering that Kurama knew a trick to make the appear blurry when you seemed upon them. Kurama regarded proper in the front of him, and stretched his hand attempting to seize and likely squeeze Naruto. Yeah. Quality 1 Kurama, however, we each recognize you like me to lots to certainly do this, stated Naruto in a bored voice whilst carrying a small smile. That is disappointing considering which you used to leap away when I did that, spoke back Kurama, chuckling. Yeah, that became like 1,000,000 years ago, answered Naruto a piece flustered. Now not that much. A few months, absolutely, spoke back Kurama, giggling at the expression on his face. So what you got here right here for? I feel something coming, said Naruto, slipping into serious mode. I do too. But do not worry, you could live to tell the tale, it stated Kurama. After all, the maximum effective of the tailed beasts goes to help you, nonetheless insisting in this depend you are now not the most powerful of the tailed beasts, stated Naruto, severely irritated. I project you to discover a tailed beast greater powerful than me, boasted Kurama. Permit me assume, said Naruto with a wicked grin plastered on his face. The 10 tails. The 10 tails original form. Thursday Rin of the Flaming Tails. Do you continue to want me to maintain? Thursday Rin does not rely. He is a demon, no longer a tailed beast, pouted Kurama. He counts, being fabricated from chakra. Test has many tails. Check, isn't conceited bastard. Test, answered Naruto, his grin threatening to rip his face aside. Hey, I am not an boastful bastard, exclaimed Kurama. Yeah, and I am Kami, responded Naruto. Something. In case you desire to recognize if I will assist you, then yes. Now depart all but, roared Kurama. Sore loser, stated Naruto. Am now not, spoke back Kurama as Naruto absolutely vanished. Your, echoed the voice of Naruto. Cheeky brat, muttered Kurama with a cunning grin. Naruto, wakened from his trance and nodded to his clones to dispel. He backed to camp and entered his tent without speak me to Cheyenne. Significantly, she become worse than Neji and Sasuke mixed, and that turned into announcing something. He failed to want to sleep that an awful lot, but he still needed to be at full energy for whatever changed into coming, and he wasn't speak me approximately the demon. He become a minor nuisance for a person that become a seal master, and had his powers however know something else turned into after them, and he had a sense that he wanted to put together himself for whatever changed into approximately to return. He woke quite early and began to see the entirety. After he had packed the whole lot besides the tent wherein Cheyenne become drowsing, he created a dozen clones and went to heat up a bit. Whilst he returned, he noticed Cheyenne sitting inside the middle of the clones, and when they dispelled he discovered she had long gone through a suit, whilst she found out he hadn't woken her up and that he had left her with some meager copies. You are severely disturbing, said Naruto as he threw over his shoulder and took off. Permit me down, you ignorant peasant, screamed Cheyenne. In case you say so, stated Naruto as he threw her from his shoulder and down the tree, but before she should fall to the floor a shadow clone snatched her and brought her in the front of the unique Naruto and dispelled. What was that for? Asked the visibly shaken Cheyenne. That became for making fun of my clones. They are a part of me given form through chakra, so please chorus from insulting them. Least subsequent time you fall they determined to assist you to fall, said Naruto. Are you threatening me? Asked Cheyenne, taken aback. No, Kami forbid it. I'm truly warning you. I cannot usually manage what my clones do, said Naruto as he supplied his lower back to Cheyenne. Why do you treat me like this? Asked Cheyenne as he hoped on his again. Due to the fact. I don't like human beings like you, responded Naruto. Humans like me? Asked Cheyenne. Yes, human beings that use destiny as an excuse for his or her screw-ups, stated Naruto. You do not get, do you? Whatever I see comes real and I simply see dying, stated Cheyenne. Oh, but I do. The antique man told me the way it works, said Naruto, shocking Cheyenne, but in preference to respecting their sacrifices you throw all of them away via being a prat. I'm no longer a prat, replied Cheyenne. No. Are you certain? Due to the fact you sure do seem like one to me, responded Naruto. You don't recognize, do you? Of root no longer, you have got in no way skilled pain like I did, said Cheyenne bitterly. I'll not when you're proper. I have not felt ache like that. I have had tons worse, said Naruto. How? Asked Cheyenne. I am a Jinchuriki, said Naruto, perplexing Cheyenne. However, should not you be dealt with as a hero? You stored them all via imprisoning a demon? Requested Cheyenne. Authentic but civilian are idiots, and Ninja observed it easier to just blame me rather than seeing me for what I'm, so they simply kept away from me. They failed to let their kids play with me. They yelled at me for no purpose, stuff like that, stated Naruto with an unhappy tone. I am sorry I failed to know, whispered Cheyenne. It's no longer a large deal. Clearly, stated Naruto, but don't anticipate me to make an apology for in advance. I truly hate human beings that use the fate bullshit as protect from fact. Why? Requested Cheyenne. Because the most effective individuals who use it are spoiled individuals who had a far less difficult existence. And when existence receives difficult, then they play the destiny card, and the truth, destiny doesn't exist. Destiny does, but this is extra, like a vacation spot in place of a hard and fast avenue. You selected the direction you need, explained Naruto. You absolutely suppose that? Requested Cheyenne. Of course. Now hold it quiet, or someone is bound to find us, after which things gets ugly, said Naruto as he quickened his pace. The following few hours have been non-violent. Was Cheyenne asking extra of Naruto's existence inside the hidden village within the leaf, and Naruto answering? Cheyenne was starting to pop out of her shell slowly, but she was coming out. The trouble started after they passed the border of the Land of Claws. A few minutes after they exceeded Via, he felt huge chakra signatures. Such signatures ought to handiest belong to S-rank ninjas. One of the signatures become bizarre, like there had been 5 signatures jumbled in it, but 4 had been being amazed by using a powerful earth-natured signature. He right away recognized it because the signature of Kakuzu, that at the same time as terrible changed into a tolerable presence whilst as compared along with his teammate Haiden, the end result of the experiments of the Jashinist cult, immortal, ought to best be killed by the all-killing ash bones or the reality looking for balls. Powers that Naruto didn't possess, or fairly effective magic that while he possessed, Naruto became reluctant to use lest he end up destroying a nice part of the USA, wherein they currently had been. The fools, dabbling in such dark rituals and magic, and what is worse, the usage of chakra to gasoline them concept Naruto, as he sensed them benefit on them. Naruto modified Root, and quick created a shadow clone and gave Cheyenne to him, and with a gesture which informed her not to invite questions however leave, he turned into the opposite course and ran as speedy as he could. He stopped while he arrived in the financial institution of a river. Timber failed to grow in a distance of 100 meters of the river on both sides. All in all, as good location as any to fight 2 S-rank ninja. He did not have any illusions he should use the Rinnegan if he become to stand a danger. In particular towards the 2 of them. The 2 ninja appeared in front of him in less than a second. He used have a look at on them, and what he saw stricken him deeply. Haiden LVL 85 Jashinist Immortal and Kakauza of the 5 Hearts LVL. That became, to put it lightly, difficult. Haiden was now not that an awful lot of a problem, as he depended on getting any individual's blood. However, Kakuzu changed into no longer a foe to underestimate in spite of everything he had fought the primary Hokage, although it was after the first Hokage's high, and had escaped together with his existence, a feat handiest for a ninja inside the entire global could brag approximately, consisting of an Madara, come with us willingly, and we won't harm you lot, stated Kakuzu, and in case you don't I will provide you as a sacrifice to Jashin-sama, stated Haiden with a gleeful voice. No, thanks, I don't plan on turning into a sacrifice to a demon, said Naruto flippantly. Jashin-sama is a god, not a demon, you little shit, screamed Haiden. Oh, however, he's a demon. He's called Jashin of the Black Mist, said Naruto flippantly, enraging. In addition, Haiden, enough. Haiden, he is trying to get underneath your skin, warned Kakuzu before Haiden may want to flow. Oh, enough with the talks. Let's dance, said Naruto as he jumped in the air, flying Thunder God. Leisure Park. Dozen of senbons shot out of Naruto's sleeves and flew up inside the air before speeding in one-of-a-kind directions. Within the meantime, Kakuzu went speedy through hand seals and shouted water launch. Swirling vortex, and from the river a vortex of water turned around Naruto and closed on him with fantastic smooth. Naruto escaped, flashing away together with his flying Thunder God. However, earlier than he may want to relaxation, he heard Kakuzu shout, fireplace release. Spiraling dragon. Huge dragon of fireplace spiraling onto himself flew closer to him. Naruto, in place of fleeing as Kakuzu expected, blurred through a few hand seals and shouted wind launch. Cleaning wind of the north, and a huge gust of wind overcame the dragon and dissolved it into a cloud of fire which Kakuzu avoided. However, Haiden turned into no longer so fortunate. Earth release. Forest of spikes, shouted Kakuzu, and proper to the strategy's call, a wooded area of earthen spikes sprouted from the ground and pressured Naruto leap upon a close by tree, only to be met through a punch that sent him flying. Naruto recovered quickly and with a single hand seal said in an even voice, Uzumaki's secret Fuinjutsu. Gambling ground of death, and right away from countless slips of parchment one-of-a-kind fumes of various colors got here out. A few exploded and a few bizarre arrows fabricated from a few dark timber flew closer to Kakuzu, who managed to stay away from. Earlier than he could go through different hand seals, he felt a sharp ache in his stomach and he saw Haiden's scythe protruding of his belly. He jumped forward and activated a seal which glowed yellow before his wound closed. Find it irresistible by no means existed. Satisfactory method, boy. But you forgot that you are fighting 2 S-rank ninja. No longer one, stated Kakuzu in a disappointed voice. Who? Said I did, replied Naruto as a shadow clone regarded from a seal right underneath Haiden and shouted hearth release. Spiraling Rasengan, and an orange Rasengan that appeared similar to a drill hit Haiden inside the chest and sent him flying some 100 meters away with a pleasant hollow in his chest. Rattling Kid. I desired to try this myself, said Kakuzu before he fell on his knees. What is occurring to me, you breathed, answered Naruto as he plunged a kunai into Kakuzu's chest. Whilst he noticed that Kakuzu wasn't getting up, Naruto rolled his eyes and made some hand seals and shouted, wind release. Grand dragon breath, and a gust of wind came out of Naruto's mouth and headed instantly for Kakuzu, which substituted with a log inside the ultimate moment. So that you recognize what gave it away? Requested a smiling Kakuzu. You have got 5 extraordinary chakra signatures. Which one I destroyed? Requested a grinning Naruto. Do you in reality suppose I will inform? Stated Kakuzu. It turned into well worth a shot, stated Naruto with a shrug. You fucker, shouted Haiden, waving his scythe. What did you do? I made you look prettier, said Naruto, which grew to become to Kakuzu. What's he? A avenue brawler? I ask that to myself every day, stated Kakuzu earlier than speeding toward Naruto, which really flashed in the back of Haiden and cut his head off, earlier than he should shove an explosive tag into Haiden's head. A black whip hit Naruto in the back and sent him flying, but earlier than crashing into a tree, Naruto flashed right behind Kakuzu and crashed into him with the momentum of his hit, and earlier than Kakuzu could recover, he flashed manner once more. Kakuzu got up quick, accidentally shoving a mouthful of dirt into Haiden's mouth, and speed toward Naruto again. Naruto paced in the direction of him, too handiest to flash away within the last second, and seemed at the back of Kakuzu, but he observed his kunai blocked through a black whip and a punch coming his way. He flashed away, leaving the kunai in the whip, and whilst he reappeared he observed his kunai turning in the direction of him, which he dodged earlier than he made a easy hand seal and said, Uzumaki barrier. Toxic loss of life barrier round Kakuzu. A dome of energy regarded, and the dome turned into quickly filled with poisonous gas. The fuel disappeared after a minute or so, handiest to look that Kakuzu was standing there unaffected, and along with his senses telling him he hadn't lost some other coronary heart, he silently cursed as he settled into the ragging whirlpool, a fighting stance designed to fight an opponent that become one's advanced in brute energy, and with any luck supply him in part in opposition to him. When he felt Kakuzu's chakra spike in wonder and fear, he immediately turned around to see a blade coming towards him, and he flashed away to a tree inside the opposite a part of the clearing his war had created, and what he noticed made his coronary heart plummet. Their status inside the tree exactly contrary to him became Orochimaru, wielding the legendary Kusanagi. What do you want, Orochimaru? Requested Kakuzu. Cuckoo, is that a manner to greet a friend? Responded Orochimaru. You little fucker, I will cut you into little ribbons and provide you to Jashin-sama, stated Haiden, seeking to cut Orochimaru together with his scythe only for him to evade him, and with a swipe to cut him in. Now that the pleasantries are out of the way, leave, ordered Orochimaru in a tone which sent shivers down Naruto's spine. Why must we do that? Requested Kakuzu, preparing himself for a combat, due to the fact you want your little shape of immortality. You understand, Kakuzu? There may be a way to break all your 5 hearts without delay, and I understand it. After which, Haiden, I understand that technique, stated Orochimaru, making each ninja afraid and making Naruto surprised. If there has been every other jutsu that might kill Haiden, as the 2 ways he knew required the Rinnegan, which Orochimaru did not have. You are Elmendacity, stuttered Haiden, taking a step far from Orochimaru. You need to bet, stated Orochimaru, stepping into a combating stance. Come, Haiden, we are leaving. It's now not really worth, said Kakuzu as he joined a now stitched up Haiden and left. There, excellent boys, taunted Orochimaru with a creepy smile. What do you need? Asked Naruto. Isn't that apparent? Retorted Orochimaru. The 9 tails? Spoke back Naruto. Forestall, feigning to be stupid and brash. I noticed through your act the moment I laid eyes on you, snarled Orochimaru. Now solution me, what do I need? To test my flying thunder god, answered Naruto. Proper. To an extent. I additionally want to see the progress of the son of the most effective ninja to both defeat me and outsmart me, said Orochimaru in an excited tone of wa. Jiraiya nonetheless kicks your ass, retorted Naruto. Actual, however, the idiot can by no means outsmart outside of combat, and even in fight he handiest wins because he has got overwhelming strength, greater than intelligence, explained Orochimaru lightly. Yeah, however, he can pressure Itachi to a stalemate, and if the occasions are proper even defeat him, whilst ultimate I heard of you he completely beaten. You, scoffed Naruto. He can, however, that is a great deal because of his greater mastery over seals, whilst compared to mine, explained Orochimaru with a hint of anger in his voice, after which he fights to kill, and that I'd to capture. It wouldn't do to kill such an exceptional specimen, would it? Well, thank you. I will be leaving now, said Naruto. Cool, and you'll leave your little friend to die? Asked Orochimaru, pointing in the direction of the subconscious parent of Cheyenne inside the arms of an Orochimaru clone. What guarantees me which you might not kill her anyways? Requested Naruto. Because I nevertheless want her to imprison the demon, responded Orochimaru. Unexpected Naruto, but his sixth feel informed him that turned into the truth, notwithstanding now not sensing any chakra fluctuation from him. If you want a combat you will get, stated Naruto as he slid into a preventing stance and activated his Rinnegan. My, any such surprise. You truly are an unpredictable ninja, aren't you? Stated Orochimaru earlier, then rushing in the direction of Naruto. Naruto stared at Orochimaru, looking forward to him to make the first move, and Orochimaru did. Via throwing a smoke bomb which nullified the benefit of the Rinnegan, he in reality became a genius. Orochimaru appeared in the back of Naruto with a body flicker and threw a nasty punch geared toward Naruto's head, but he found his fist blocked in mid-flight. Naruto became around and threw a few explosive tags at Orochimaru, after which disappeared with a body flicker just before the tags exploded. Orochimaru, having the speed and reflexes of an S-rank ninja, escaped with a body flicker as nicely, simplest to locate the region in which he dropped out of the frame flicker, suffering from imploding tags. He disappeared again in a body flicker, after which became to see Naruto standing a few meters from him. You're properly, however, such hints may not paintings on me, Orochimaru shouted, because the noise that the tags going off made hearing a chunk difficult. Possibly. However, I used to be just testing you, stated Naruto nonchalantly before he disappeared in a flash of yellow. He seemed in the left side of Orochimaru, who, having anticipated Naruto to seem at the back of him, had launched a kick right in the back of him, and procked to stab Orochimaru in his arm. He had first of all tried to stab him within the kidney, however he had reacted too speedy, and the kunai had simplest stabbed his arm. Naruto flashed once more, but this time to a greater faraway location, making ready himself for a warfare he couldn't win, although he had a number of speed and electricity, the most powerful bloodline restrict ever and the maximum feared assassination approach. In an upgraded version, he could at maximum delay him and desire for Takagi to arrive. Orochimaru didn't stay idle but speedy flashed via hand seals and said earth release. Crushing earth wave, and straight away a large wave of earth rose from the ground and proceeded to growth in size, and then it fell down to the floor under. With a big explosion, a place of a few loads meters round Orochimaru became torn aside. Naruto had survived the use of Kamui and teleporting to a special dimension, however he knew he might be inclined while he returned, so he decided to make a large entrance. Orochimaru jumped and grew to become again when he felt the pressure accumulate at the back of his again, similar to whilst Tobi determined to drop via, and he saw two exceptional Narutos walking towards him and yelling wind launch, Rashuriken and fireplace launch, spiraling Rasengan, and whilst the two attacks converged, they yelled collaboration technique, flaming Doombringer. The large flaming shuriken flew in the direction of Orochimaru, breaking the sound barrier, after which collided, exploding right into a big dome of pure fiery destruction. Orochimaru felt a thrill run down his spine as he slightly made a substitution jutsu with a close-by log. He would have used one apiece farther, however some way there had been none. Paintings of the boy absolute confidence, although Orochimaru, as he felt the fiery backlash of the jutsu utilized by Naruto slam into him, and almost incinerate him, however he would continue to exist. He wouldn't fall to him regardless of how powerful he turned into already. Best whilst he could get to the level of his father. Handiest then might he supply him the pleasure to without a doubt unfasten him of his earthly vessel, clutching at his carbonized arm, his frame affected by 2nd and 1/3 degree burns. Orochimaru stood within the fringe of the craters shaped by using the assault and broke down in a maniac laughter. Properly. Well, it seems which you have inherited something more of your father other than appears, said Orochimaru. What am I able to say? Kicking your ass runs in the family, said Naruto as he organized an almighty push. Certainly. But shall we see how you cope with this, stated Orochimaru as he shed his skin and came out of his very own mouth in complete health. This is gross, but then thinking about your experiments, this is normal for you, stated Naruto as his eyes brimmed with natural strength prepared to be unleashed. As opposed to answering, Orochimaru lunged ahead, but became instead met with two phrases that made his blood run. Bloodless almighty push, and an unstoppable wave of pressure slammed into him only for Orochimaru to turn into mud, and then he grew to become round in time to steer clear of a kick aimed at his head. How foolish of you to waste such away. Now you may want 5 minutes earlier than you will be able to using it once more, stated Orochimaru, as he flashed via hand seals and said wind release. Razor arrow, and what seemed like a transparent arrow of air headed for Naruto. That might be accurate if I used to be not a real master of the Rinnegan, stated Naruto with a smirk, after which he said almighty push, and a large gravitational force negated the assault of the Sannin, and then slammed into him, throwing him some dozens meters away and completely annihilating each tree in that distance. What Naruto said to Orochimaru become real, however that wasn't what he did, because for each use of the almighty push before a 1-minute cooldown, for someone that has a natural Rinnegan, its value went up by means of 5%. And at the same time as he had chakra to burn, he did not have that a great deal. Alternatively, he really launched only a fraction of the real electricity of the almighty push, having predicted such a move and then released the rest whilst the real Orochimaru tried to assault him. He noticed the fitness bar of the Sannin drop dangerously low and flashed pink. Such was the strength of the almighty push used by a real inheritor of the Rinnegan, but he didn't let his guard down, and he became proven proper while the snake Sannin shed his pores and skin yet again, and he stated that his chakra bar dropped by means of every other 10% of his authentic chakra capability. He turned into being pushed again. He knew it, however, he wasn't going to offer Orochimaru the satisfaction of acting like a headless chook. Naruto hated Orochimaru with every fiber of his being. He had killed his grandfather parent, and he had attempted to ruin Konohagakure. Even more instances than just the invasion. He knew that from his father, or more exactly his father's tether to the mortal plane. Minato Namikaze were a person who did the whole thing for a cause, however not even him expected that someone the extent of Takagi made of the remnants of his chakra a tether to permit him temporary respite from being within the Shinigami's stomach and permit him to impart his knowledge to his inheritor. That being the best cause, he should use the Flying Thunder God in any respect. Orochimaru had once had the risk to have Minato as his pupil, but had surpassed him in prefer of another group, one which had a so referred to as prodigy. Throughout the Third Shinobi global conflict, Orochimaru had come to remorse missing the risk to shape him, as he confirmed himself as literally the finest ninja ever produced from Konoha, and it was anticipated of him to obtain a level same or surpassing that of the likes of Madara Uchiha or Hashirama Senju, and he would have had he no longer died so as to prevent a fraction of a primordial. At some point of the Third Shinobi World struggle, Minato had waged a secret battle against Orochimaru, denying him the Sharingan time and time again, and nearly killing him numerous instances. The only thing preventing him was the truth that he become one of the Sannin, and his loss of life could have extreme repercussions on the morale Konoha military, and Orochimaru knew it. All through this time Orochimaru organized for Minato to meet his future rival, A, and his brother Killer B, followed via another borderline S-rank ninja from Kumo in hopes of getting him killed, even as removing extreme threats in opposition to Konoha and his destiny plans. The plan failed, and it ended with the ninja accompanying the destiny Reikage, and his brother dead at the same time as the Jinchuriki become critically wounded and survived handiest way to his enhanced healing powers, while A changed into crippled from the conflict and changed into not able of becoming a member of any conflict for 3 months. That become the start in their competition. Upon his return he casually strolled within the village and foiled 3 exclusive plots from Orochimaru to gain the Sharingan. As revenge, Orochimaru dispatched him to assassinate the Otsutsuki, Inoki. The use of his success into defeating A and his group as a pretext, Minato once more blew his plan with the aid of efficaciously infiltrating IWA and preventing the Otsutsuki and his private protect and whining. The conflict changed into fierce as Inoki changed into pretty effective on the time, and the warfare changed into joined via a superb number of gift jounin, or even the 2 IWA Jinchuriki who had at the time just lower back from a undertaking. He completely beaten them. 30 jounin misplaced their lives and 20 could in no way return to active obligation once more. The Jinchuriki crushed to a pulp and fell into a coma from which they failed to recover for every week in spite of their enhanced healing. As for the Otsutsuki, well, there was a cause for his damaged hip. Being unable to heal even through Tsunade herself had attempted to heal him, he left the Otsutsuki alive, in hopes he would take into account that warfare was hopeless. However, he didn't. In the end he discovered it while he single-handedly killed 1,000 IWA ninja, after which casually blew up a closely guarded bridge on his manor domestic after saving the remains of his genin crew. Upon the stop of the Third Shinobi International Warfare, the name of the game warfare among him and Orochimaru and him reached an all-time top in the course of the election for the 4th Hokage seat. Minato received, outsmarting him in the front of all the Jounin Corp. After that he proceeded to systematically spoil his labs and making the finding of test concern for his experiments not possible. He made Danzo practically powerless and made an alliance between Danzo and Orochimaru not possible at the time, all through that bloodless war among them. Orochimaru got here to fear Minato even more than he ought to fear the 033, despite the fact that the latter ought to effortlessly defeat him in an all-out combat. That being the motive, he did not resurrect him throughout the invasion, despite the fact that, consistent with Minato, Orochimaru knew the Uzumaki's secret method for releasing souls from the belly of the Shinigami. He feared him because, in contrast to the other S-ranks which came at you with their complete strength, wrecking as tons havoc as they might on their way to you, Minato genuinely teleported in the back of you and jammed a kunai to the base of your neck, killing you without much fuss, and he by no means confirmed his full abilities, despite the fact that no one ever doubted that he should purpose as Ton's destruction as some other S-rank, if not greater, due to his unprecedented mastery of seals. Therefore the cause he turned into given the honorary SS rank, a rank now not given even to the likes of Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha. Orochimaru smiled earlier than with a pulse of chakra he deactivated a couple of seals and disappeared in a blur, and with a kick to the ribs dispatched Naruto flying through the timber of the forest, however turned into dissatisfied to find it changed into only a strengthened clone. Naruto attacked with a combo of chakra superior punched and kicks combined with a really perfect use of his LVL 81 frame flicker. Regardless of all of his attempt, Orochimaru certainly blocked the entirety he threw at him, maintaining at all times a creepy smile that sent chills down Naruto's backbone. As Naruto retreated to get better a few chakra, Orochimaru didn't omit a beat and took out Kusanagi, and with that he disappeared in a frame flicker and appeared in the front of Naruto, who was looking forward to him as he saw the path of chakra, and proceeded to attack him with a speed and fury that he best witnessed from Takagi. Despite the fact that Takagi had been conserving lower back lots, Naruto started to recognize why Orochimaru become one of the Sannin, a ninja that each one, however, the most powerful Kages feared. Why on the age of 13 he had been able to going toe-to-toe with Hanzo the Salamander, a ninja whom handiest Kages of the best quality could desire to defeat. Albeit it became finished with the aid of his team, Naruto became being pushed again, and wasn't being accomplished by way of a few flashy jutsu or any earth-shattering secret method. It changed into being completed through a person and his sword, no jutsu being used. As Naruto averted any other swipe from Orochimaru, he teleported in the back of his back, and with chakra more suitable speed he jammed a kunai to the back of his head, simplest for Orochimaru to turn into dust. It became that moment that it hit him. Orochimaru turned into toying with him. A clone had almost killed him, and for all the resilience and power of dust clones, they'd however a fragment of the ability and strength of the unique, just like your dad. A kunai to the bottom of the neck, stated Orochimaru, looking at him with the ever-present creepy smile. Well, he did teach me a few tricks, stated Naruto, hoping to stall him long sufficient for Takagi to arrive. Liar! Spat Orochimaru, his face contorting in rage as he attacked him. No one can speak to the ones in the belly of the Shinigami. I have attempted. I wager you aren't as desirable as you watched, stated Naruto nonchalantly while he struggled against Orochimaru's attack. Even in his enraged state his swordplay and situational awareness become ideal. Cuckoo. To suppose that you made me lose my composure, stated Orochimaru, slipping into his calmer mindset after giving Naruto a mainly nasty reduce to his abdomen which brought about 500 damage and gave him a Kusanagi. Poison fame, however, in a second, or it might disappear. Way to Kurama. Nicely. Dad always stated that you had a tender spot for him, stated Naruto as he avoided the definitively deadlier sword swipes. So, how did you do it? Requested Orochimaru, increasing the intensity of his assaults. What changed into chakra supposed to do with the aid of the Sage of Six Paths? Asked Naruto, teleporting around him in a flurry of yellow flashes and giving him a few deep cuts that made his health bar drop to 3/4. Rattling, he became resilient. How am I imagined to recognize that? It is unfair, pouted Orochimaru as released a volley of snakes closer to Naruto. However, his eyes received a calculative look. Liar, you realize that very well, as the strength of the white snake is partly Nishu, stated Naruto, dodging a volley of snakes. Cuckoo, you truly do recognize your stuff. Properly, pleasantries aside, where the hell did you find a big enough chakra pattern to create one of these connection to him? Asked Orochimaru, intrigued. It really is for me to understand, and with a purpose to duck, said Naruto as a blur flew toward Orochimaru, and he becomes slammed into the floor through an Azura direction. More advantageous clone. Orochimaru effortlessly dispatched the Azura root superior clone, after which with a single hand seal he unleashed wind launch. Fantastic leap forward and dispatched an unprepared Naruto sailing via the timber of the surrounding wooded area, or what was left of it. Besides, Naruto felt his broken bones, and he knew he needed to do this if he wanted to live to tell the tale long sufficient. Even though he activated his three-tailed Kyuubi cloak and he felt his electricity and velocity boom through a component of 20, even though that failed to translate in his stats being accelerated with the aid of that range, as your power should develop 100-fold, but you gained only some stat factors, the use of his newfound velocity and power, he attacked Orochimaru, who for the first time inside the fight took the shielding. Regardless of his stronger pace and strength, he found himself not able to breach through his defense. The snake's Sannin was too rattling agile for a hit to land on him, even though he was his superior in raw pace and electricity phrases. After a couple of minutes, Naruto controlled to pin Orochimaru to the ground and organized to eviscerate him, but became rewarded with a seal to the gut. Naruto fell to the floor, and at the way down he analyzed the seal. It wasn't like something he knew, that means it became a customized seal. If he did have any time, he should have without problems picked it aside and undone it, but he changed into out of time, so there has been simplest one aspect he should do. He did some hand seals and whispered, "Celestial Release, Sky Defend Everlasting Armor," and changed into straightaway wrapped inside the azure armor simply earlier than the Kusanagi came down on his neck. The blade sank down to the middle of the ethereal armor's neck and even drew blood from Naruto. Naruto didn't prevent there, but using his Predapath he drew from the herbal electricity of the land round him, and even Orochimaru stopped to stare at the transformation of the armor. The color of the armor, modified to a deeper color of azure, it also won 6 azure wings, and everywhere in the armor stripes of shining violet color unfold into a captivating pattern. In the armor, Naruto felt his frame develop even more potent than the everyday sage mode allowed for, and his chakra mix with the character strength and the celestial strength making up the armor. With a smirk he saw a table appear before him. Time to seal destruction, 2:43 minute. Every other benefit of the celestial sage mode became that it destroyed any and all seals located on him. Upon its activation, nicely all except for the seal imprisoning Kurama, on account that turned into created by means of the death god. Orochimaru attacked with his most velocity, however to Naruto it turned into like he became moving in gradual movement, and he dodged. He could not afford to get hit via the Kusanagi because it was a relic of his family, and the age earlier than the empire fell, and it can reduce through nearly the whole thing, even his celestial sage mode armor. With a brief spin he became around and punched Orochimaru inside the intestines, sending him flying via many timber before preventing. Before Orochimaru may want to touch the ground, Naruto regarded above him and hit him with an all kick, causing him to form a crater whilst he touched the ground. While Orochimaru got out of the crater, he shed his pores and skin yet again, and smiled before his frame exploded in a pile of snakes, and from it a giant white snake with Orochimaru's face on it, and preserving Kusanagi in his mouth, got here out. With a speed that changed into a terrific deal extra than earlier, than he attacked Naruto, and managed to attain pretty a few hits on his armor, leaving some gashes that started out to heal without delay once they were scored. For a few minutes the snake and the armored Naruto fought to and fro, however none received the higher hand till Naruto's armor started out to vanish and Naruto fell to the floor exhausted. With a brief movement, the snake hit Naruto with his tail and dispatched him flying, and when he touched the ground he fashioned a crater. The snake accumulated all of the other smaller snakes, and it reformed back into the human shape of Orochimaru. Brandishing his sword, Orochimaru approached the susceptible shape of Naruto. "You pushed my remaining form to its higher limits. Now I might not be able to use it for any other 3 months," said as he kicked Naruto. "Do you understand how plenty it hurts to gather that much natural power in that form?" "Plenty," reputedly stated Naruto, guffawing whilst spitting blood from his mouth. "Why are you guffawing?" asked the curious Orochimaru. "You are about to die." "No, I'm now not. You on the other hand are a lifeless man taking walks," stated Naruto, laughing. "What are you pronouncing?" requested Orochimaru, seeking to recognize if he became bluffing or if become telling the truth. The Celestial Sage Mode armor grants power surpassing that of the Rinnegan, although it does drain you of what stamina you have got ultimately. But the point is that I could have killed every time at some point of our little fight, but I used to be requested to maintain you alive, stated Naruto. By means of who? Requested a afflicted Orochimaru. By using the man who has been looking us for the past minutes, and who is currently behind you, stated Naruto. Orochimaru made a quick flip and attempted to swipe at Takagi, but he hit only empty air as Takagi ducked and then grabbed Orochimaru and threw him at a nearby tree, totally disintegrating it and a few other unfortunate trees standing in the manner of Orochimaru's flight. Takagi disappeared in a blur and returned some seconds later with a battered and bleeding Orochimaru. He let Orochimaru fall to the floor, wherein he changed into Shur with the aid of some ethereal ropes, and he approached Naruto. That turned into silly of you using a power with such drawbacks, said Kakashi as he shared a number of his power with him, which triggered Naruto to be completely re-energized. Nicely. He blocked my connection to the fur ball and he become going to cut my head. So sorry for looking to stay, said an irritated Naruto. That wouldn't have came about if you had turned out to be immortal, said Takagi. That wouldn't if you had given me permission to kill him, answered Naruto, not lacking a beat. I need to learn something from him, and then in keeping with what we examine we decide what to do, explained Takagi. What do you need from him? To learn of his soulless experiments? Or how he planned the destruction of Konoha again and again? Requested Naruto. I know what you sense. I too misplaced my own family at a young age, so I can relate for your want for revenge, but we should now not be ruled via emotions. I did that mistake once and that I lost nearly the whole lot, said Takagi with sympathy in his voice. With a movement of his hand the body of Orochimaru floated in the air proper before them, and then Takagi spoke a string of words in a language misplaced to time and Orochimaru's eyes fluttered open. Naruto knew the spell. It made mendacity impossible, lying to yourself and to others. That spell was one of the ultimate intrusions to privateness, however he squashed those mind as he, even though the man before him deserved it. How did you get away? My sensory powers, they had been at their height at some point of my transformation? Asked a weary Orochimaru. I've my ways, spoke back Takagi cryptically. Now inform me the truth, why did you arrange the invasion? Because I needed to supply the vintage man. He pressured himself to prevent by biting his tongue off. Well, this will be a chunk more difficult than anticipated, but I have damaged man's and demon's manner more resistant than you to my interrogation method, stated Takagi as he targeted his eyes on Orochimaru's eyes, and they glowed, and unexpectedly Orochimaru's eyes became a super replica of Takagi's eyes. You may by no means get whatever out of me, spoke back Orochimaru, almost breaking the connection among Takagi and him. I am afraid that isn't always the reality, and you will see, stated Takagi as he focused even greater, and then after a few minutes he interrupted the relationship, and said, I see you spot nothing. All of you are blind, replied Orochimaru. You probably did all of that as an act of mercy, did not you? Requested Takagi, in part, but also because Konoha needed to be reminded in their decline on account that Minato changed into Hokage, replied Orochimaru against his wont. What mercy? How could you take into account killing Gigi as mercy? Requested a distressed Naruto at the verge of tears. Is that this reminder really worth the life of masses who died because you could not stand the fact that the village becomes sturdy despite the reality which you were not Hokage, foolish boy? I do not suppose in terms of masses or thousand, however of hundreds of thousands that would have died if Konoha confirmed any weakness, answered Orochimaru. No, one is silly sufficient to attack Konoha, answered Naruto. Proper now. It truly is actual, because my invasion showed that Konoha become nonetheless the strongest, and that it took 2 resurrected Hokage and me to defeat the antique monkey, and even then I suffered crippling accidents, spoke back Orochimaru. This is alas real. Hiruzen was demised because of an unprecedented disorder. Something now not even Tsunade should heal, and that would have proven a second of weakness to all, whilst he would be rotting in a mattress, after which the 4th shinobi struggle might have all started. Unhappy Takagi. That can't be real, he must have planted the one's memories there. He can do that, you recognize, said a tearful Naruto. There is no manner he can mislead me. He is some 1,000 years too younger to try this, answered Takagi, and Naruto knew that to be the reality, but nonetheless he could not accept it. Pay attention, Naruto. I see in you the capacity to surpass your father, however to do which you have to emerge as a person, not remain the boy that I now see earlier than me. Try this and you'll have the electricity to trade the corruption and the sickness that afflicts the Shinobi International, said Orochimaru. Subsequent up, you worshipped, for loss of a higher word. Minato Namie's why? And do not give the he outsmarted me bullshit, said Takagi in a stern voice. He observed a way to shop the best in us all, to shop the Shinobi Global from its personal corruption. Starting from the leaf, and he could have had he now not died sealing the 9 tails, said Orochimaru. Do you no longer see? He determined a manner to do so without first destroying it. However, now it's too late, and it must first be destroyed and then rebuild to our photo. Do you believe him? Requested Naruto. He cannot lie, younger one. It is hard to trust it, however it's far the reality, stated Takagi. What are you going to do now? He turned to Orochimaru. I'm going to die, spoke back Orochimaru. I imply if I allow you to cross, corrected Takagi. I'm able to proceed with my plan. However, do you flatter yourself thinking I can monitor it to you, said Orochimaru. Closing query. Why do you want the Sharingan? Or greater precisely its Magenkyo shape, stated Takagi. To set something or a person loose, however as to who that someone is I won't inform, responded Orochimaru. No need to. I already recognize, said Takagi, freeing him. Depart now before I exchange my thoughts. With those phrases Orochimaru disappeared in a body flicker and left Cheyenne's subconscious at the floor. The two moved closer to the subconscious blonde. Naruto became conflicted. Approximately what he learned nowadays he could not accept as true. With Orochimaru was one of the true guys, nicely extra like gray. However, till a few minutes in the past he believed he was pure evil, but right now his global were turned the wrong way. Up. He didn't recognize what he become making plans, however he knew it might something even bigger than the Akatsukis give up recreation. In truth, he turned into certain that regardless of the Akatsuki cease sport turned into it would be however part of this plan of his to break the shinobi world, and to rebuild it. However, he might be damned if he left his buddies and cherished ones perish due to his mad schemes. With newfound willpower he moved closer to the prone form of Cheyenne. He decided that he might get stronger in every manner that he ought to, and he would complete this undertaking and get the method to accomplish that from Takagi. Orochimaru, your plan isn't going to take place. Of that I swear on the whole thing. I really like, for it is that what there's at stake. And so he completely unnoticed the new tabs that had appeared after the cease of his war with Orochimaru. Takagi noticed the brand new fireplace burning in his eyes, and he smiled. Eventually a brand new emperor become born, and he become going to exchange the sector, and he'd be damned if he failed to help him obtain his new goal that had lit the fire in his eyes. With those thoughts in his head he undid the damage performed to the forest during the fight among Naruto and Orochimaru, with however some words, and then sat down and commenced to meditate. Whilst Kakashi intended for Group 7 to move directly again to Konoha, the blood call had grown too strong for Naruto to disregard, and he turned northwest once they had crossed the bridge. Sasuke changed into quick to follow him, and Kakashi knew his college students too properly to trust that Sakura wouldn't observe the boys. So he sighed and observed after them, although now not earlier than sending considered one of his canine summons to Konoha with a message. Nicely, he said when they stopped for the night time. You probably did say that we need to have a few talks. So earlier than something else, allows go over the mission, I might desire you all discovered something, approximately every different, and yourselves. I realize I did on my first undertaking like this. Sakura, what do you observe you want to improve on? I need the courage to behave, or a way to help that continues me off the front strains. I used to be absolutely vain whenever we fought. Naruto was vain at first, but by way of our second fight, he changed into essentially the cause we survived, Sakura said, truly disappointed at herself. I may be referred to as a ninja, but I do not deserve the high title till I will get up and do something to help my teammates. It is a good answer, Sasuke? My Sharingan is completely formed, so I want to teach it, in particular on the grounds that I slightly had a danger to train with it earlier than the massacre. Naruto and I've been operating on that. However, we are essentially stuck with trial and error, as a great deal as I hate to confess it, meaning you have to train us how, Kakashi-sensei. I suppose it does. What about you, Naruto? What do you observe you need to improve on? The Jinchuriki really thought about it for a while earlier than figuring out I need to assume things via higher. I'm manner too at risk of follow my instincts, and that triggered issues for me and Sasuke while we have been fighting Haku. I must have stayed outdoor and kept attempting to interrupt the mirrors in preference to join him inner, or if I did go interior, I must have used Fire Whirl once more. This is proper, but following your instincts can be a terrific element, and sometimes you can overanalyze a scenario, ensuing in a catch-22 situation where you do not do something, whether or not from indecision or fear. No, I think I will educate you how to mood that instinct with wisdom. Talking of which, do you've got any concept where we're going, or are you just following your intuition? Naruto's cheeks reddened a touch, while Sasuke laughed. We actually mentioned this when we have been taking a smash from schooling, Sasuke commenced. Naruto changed into surely going to simply comply with the decision. Properly, I wasn't going to have that. So I talked to a number of the villagers and purchased a map. The Land of Waves is on the southwestern fringe of the Land of Fire, whilst Uzushio is largely at once west of Konoha. My plan was to lease a boat while we attained the western coast and sail to Uzushio at once. That could save us some days of tour by way of foot at least. Properly, it really is best to know. However, I have got a question of my very own, Sakura stated. What become up with Naruto at the bridge? I've in no way even heard of a jutsu that would make a person tackle inhuman traits or have chakra form a tail. Now, not to say the fact that his chakra become orange. And wherein did he examine those jutsus? And come what may, I knew something horrible became occurring on the time, each to Sasuke and Naruto. How did I realize that? Kakashi spoke first, as regards to how we both knew something had gone wrong. I trust we've got fashioned a team bond. Eh, what? I have never heard of that, Sensei, Sakura said. It's not precisely commonplace, but while your emotional bonds come to be strong sufficient, they could affect your chakra. Developing a bond that lets in you to know while the others you're bonded to are in hassle, on the grounds that your relationship to everybody is specific, each bond is likewise unique, allowing you to know who exactly is in trouble. Our team bond is the most common bond to exist, and almost always occurs with a Jonin's first genin crew, and once more nearly always occurs among genin teams. It clearly allows you to realize whilst your group is in hazard and we're in there, they generally dissolve after the Chunin exams though, because the Jonin is now not required to teach his team and the group goes their separate approaches, not always, as that's how the Ina Shikacho crew became born, but typically, accomplice bonds are much less commonplace. However, if it's formed, the partners became extremely risky on the battlefield, almost a two-man military. Partners are capable of draw on each other's chakra if essential and might use every other's hidden jutsus, extended family strategies. The rarest of the bonds is a soul bond, wherein the two are so near that they're essentially one soul in two our bodies, and that they continually end up in a romantic relationship. Soul bound can't simplest do the whole lot that lesser bonds can do. However, even use each difference kekai genkai. And what about the bridge? Alas, at the same time as I think I understand what happened, to give an explanation for could destroy one of the Hokage's orders, Naruto is free to give an explanation for, however simplest if he feels secure enough. Naruto iced up at the response. But one have a look at Sasuke and the self-belief in his eyes made the selection for him. The Kyubi no Kitsune is sealed internal me, and we labored together to complete our undertaking. The transformation and orange chakra become due to her. Anyways, she's constantly been sealed in an Uzumaki, so she changed into capable of educate me a number of our Haiden, and he or she's extremely powerful in Futon. That is how I used to be capable of do what I did. Sasuke raised an eyebrow in surprise, as he knew what could have triggered Naruto to call for Kurama's assist. They absolutely needed to talk now, but it had to be in non-public, far away from the relaxation of their group. Then he remembered something else they wished to speak about. Where did you get your Sharingan? He demanded of his sensei. How can we trust you in case you hold such an essential mystery from us, especially while it worries my clan's Kekai Genkai? Kakashi checked out the floor, and when he spoke, the ache became apparent in his voice. It got here from a teammate of mine, Uchiha Obito. He changed into the Naruto of my genin team, whilst that was our version of you, Sasuke. In the course of the 1-3 Shinobi International struggle, we have been assigned to smash a bridge linking Iwa and Kusa. Our 033 teammate was captured and Obito determined to desert the mission to save her. I concept that we ought to end the venture, and he referred to as me worse than trash, your first lesson to us. Sakura remembered, sure, our sensei taught it to us, but it turned into dropping Obito that hammered it domestic for me. I determined to comply with him, and inside the resulting fight, I misplaced my eye and Obito became stuck in a cave in saving my existence. He gave me his Sharingan as an apology for a few stupid element that had befell earlier than the task. Did you keep your teammate? Naruto requested. Yes, she turned into the Medellin that executed the transplant. Unfortunately, she died a few months later, 1 week later, and they arrived at the coast. However, they couldn't discover a ship that might take them to Utsutsuki. Once they visited the resort and spoke to the locals in a greater cozy placing, they learned several matters. First became that some shinobi from Konoha had come to Utsutsuki, and that considered one of them had destroyed the last individuals of the army. Her name were Uzumaki Kushina, which brought on Kakashi to rip up even though he wouldn't explain why. 2D become that ever considering then, the island had been surrounded with the aid of whirlpools that had been always lively, and none ought to parent out why. It's a defense mechanism to protect Utsutsuki's secrets from her enemies. I can get us through, Naruto explained. Numerous of the fishermen asked how he ought to, and while Naruto revealed he turned into an Uzumaki, they could not circulate fast enough to help him. One among them even gave him some Utsutsuki uniforms. Tight, however, flowing darkish blue garb marked with the Uzumaki clan image in purple waves, Kakashi changed into surprised. Even 2 decades after Utsutsuki's destruction and the slaughter of the Uzumaki clan, they nonetheless commanded extensive recognize what form of clan had been they to inspire this sort of loyalty. Days on board the Fortunate Dragon, and that they had reached the threshold of Utsutsuki's waters, effortlessly called the villagers had been right approximately the mass of whirlpools. However, as quickly as Naruto placed his hand within the water and pushed some of his chakra in, the whirlpools vanished. However, the land nevertheless could not be seen. It's another protection. We want to watch for sunset. Whilst the sun set, there has been a green flash of mild, and when the flash diminished, wherein the solar have been, the land of whirlpools appeared. It in reality used to be a beautiful United States of America, as even the ruins had a splendor to them, even though oddly sufficient. They by no means noticed even one skeleton. The beaches appeared like they were product of gold, the homes a lovely white and pink, shockingly just like the Uchiha fan. The flora had regrown with a vengeance after the battle, with a coloration so wealthy they will be improper for emeralds. Unluckily, they had no time to experience the surroundings as Naruto turned into there with a reason, and he led them to what seemed to be the smallest constructing inside the entire village. We will relaxation right here for tonight. I have were given the feeling that day after today goes to be a protracted day. Naruto, do you've got any concept how a long way it's miles to the Arashikage's tower? Sakura asked as they ate supper. You imply you do not know? Naruto asked. Sasuke and Kakashi's eyebrows rose, until they took a look around and found out something. This is the workplace of the Arashikage. Sakura changed into Boldover, but then she noticed the table with the Uzumaki clan image at the back of it. How should the maximum powerful man or woman in Utsutsuki paintings inside the smallest constructing? What type of human beings have been the Uzumakis? As quickly as they had eaten breakfast the next morning, Naruto pushed his chakra into a seal at the ground, establishing an entice door at the back of the Kage's table. Under the entice door changed into a fixed of stairs that delved deep underground till it reached what appeared to be a lake interior and good-sized cavern. What stuck their interest although were the 4 carvings on the alternative facet of the cave, carvings that had to be the Arashikage's, all of which appeared remarkably like Naruto. A mild flashed from the eyes of an Arashikage, first scanning them, then searching down into the lake. When the mild vanished, the cave began shaking and a platform commenced rising to simply beneath the surface. Come resonated through their heads, and they stepped closer to the Arashikage. Sakura turned into stopped approximately 20 feet far away from the statues. Kakashi made it to 10 toes, Sasuke 3 toes, at the same time as Naruto truly stopped right in front of the statues. Then a stunning mild got here from the statues, enveloping every of them. Sakura, in which do your loyalties lie? The voice in her head demanded. Why do you need to recognize? She countered, to defend our secrets, and our blood, and why might I be a threat? I do not know any of your secrets, and the best individual I understand of your blood is a friend of mine. And in which do your buddies lie in significance for loyalty? Fine. In case you ought to recognize, I'm loyal to my family first, then my crew, my buddies and Konoha. Glad now? What happens whilst your loyalties battle then? What if your family needs you stop working along with your crew? What if Konoha requested you to spy on Sasuke, Naruto, or your circle of relatives? What if any other scenario like Ino happens? That brought about Sakura to pause. Why changed into this being asking questions like that? Then she remembered certain records lessons. the fear of the Kyuubi no Kitsune and the ancient contention of Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, it became possible that the council would ask her to spy on either of her teammates. So what could she do in any such scenario? And what if her mother and father absolutely did tell her to prevent associating with Naruto? Such a factor had befell before. There has been a cause Sasuke become Naruto's handiest buddy, no matter him being such a type character. Sure, she knew he changed into type. Didn't stop him from being in Fool though. Besides which, her parents were not too glad approximately her turning into a kunoichi inside the first region. What in the event that they tried to pressure her off the group? So, what would she select? She had a feeling that her answer could form her destiny for years yet to come. After several minutes of notion, she subsequently decided, a ninja who breaks the policies is scum. However, person who abandons their friends is worse than scum. Even as I recognize I have a protracted manner to head, I'm a ninja, and I'm no longer going to abandon my team, if it comes down to it, unless I recognize with absolute fact that my friends are going to do something horrible. I can pick them each a merry time. True choice, kunoichi. The voice got here once more, but this time from out of doors her body. She looked around for the source, finally locating a big body forming before her. It took the form of a massive guy product of solid muscle carrying tight blue robes and spiky red hair, yet notwithstanding his form, he moved and gave the impression of a man who really enjoyed lifestyles, who ought to never be depressed regardless of what. You would be a worth addition to Yuzushiogakure if I had been still jogging it. But such times are lengthy given that past. You have decided where you stand, now turn that stance into convictions and stand with the aid of your convictions regardless of what. That is when you'll truly be worthy of the identify of kunoichi. Now, permits do a little paintings to assist with that. Kakashi, you have had a few tragedy on your lifestyles, have not you? Inform me, Hatake Kakashi of the Sharingan, how are you going to name yourself a teacher if you've most effective taught your college students one issue? The man asked. He was wearing a hakama, had a completely thin mustache, and sounded flawlessly calm, almost as if nothing could segment him. What might Minato say if he noticed you act like this? Group 7 is cursed, easy as that. The first team 7 is scattered to the winds, with certainly one of them a nuke. The next one all died and I am the most effective one left of the 1/3. No, I won't watch them be destroyed, or give them the gear to break themselves or each different. I will effortlessly see them becoming the following Sannin. They have that ton's promise. But it's also clean to see them pass the manner of the Sannin. And I'm now not going to be the one to educate the subsequent Orochimaru or Madara. Kakashi yelled out, do you really believe future cannot be changed? You are proper, those 3 have the potential to rival or even surpass their predecessors, however. In case you give them the right guidance, they might not move the same manner. Additionally, did you realize that your fears are whole opposites of each different? In case you teach them, they might become more than the Sannin. But if you do not teach them, they will die as they nearly did on your remaining venture, as did your own crew and Minato's. Educate them, Kakashi. But educate them now, not handiest how to do matters proper, however in which their predecessors went wrong. That closing element is wherein maximum instructors fail. One doesn't simply analyze from success. In truth, the most treasured training are discovered from failure. However, that does not mean that the failure should be first-hand. Sasuke, so, some other Uchiha, huh? And with the curse of hatred activated too, why am I amazed? So, solution me this, and answer instantly. If it came all the way down to it, which would you pick, your revenge or your buddies? The Arashikage demanded. He became a big guy, taller than Kakashi-sensei and effortlessly heavier than him, though it was absolutely all muscle, as his apparel did nothing to hide the enormity of his muscles and had a scar across the bridge of his nostril. However, his size did not depend to Sasuke, and he glared at the man. Why do you care if I am an Uchiha, or about my revenge? Due to the fact you jobbed my memory of your ancestor, Madara? Do his tale, the whole story? What do you imply, the entire story? Sasuke demanded. He'd heard and studied the tale of Madara frequently, partly from his family earlier than the massacre, and partly due to his prominence in Konoha's records. What ought to he have ignored? You would be surprised at what people generally tend to forget or forget about when it would not suit their ideas. For instance, did you understand that Madara and Senju Hashirama had been friends once? What? Sasuke had never heard of this sort of element. even a number of the Senju-centric teachings at the academy. The academy taught that Madara betrayed Hashirama, even as his extended family taught that Tobirama betrayed the Uchiha Senju alliance. Neither had even once hinted at the two being buddies. What had came about? Tell me the whole tale. Who is aware of? It would assist me answer your query. The Arashikage laughed at that. You've got guts, kid, I love that. Alright, I'll let you know. It started for the duration of the clan wars. Whenever there has been a lull in the combating or the training, Madara would burst off on his very own and rest. At some point he met a boy his personal age named Hashirama, and that they became pals. Whilst the two met was the best time they allowed themselves to actually be youngsters, and pleasant opponents. Additionally they shared a dream of a world in which there was peace. Or as a minimum a global where youngsters should just be children and no longer soldiers. Eventually, even though they discovered out who the other become, Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, and that they were confronted with a choice, aid their clans or their friend, they covered each different. But Madara chose to stand with his family, the grief of losing his friend sufficient to waken his Sharingan. As time went on, the wars persevered, ultimately ensuing within the former friends turning into heads of their clans. Hashirama supplied an alliance. However, Madara's final brother Izuna became killed with the aid of Hashirama's brother, Tobirama, and Izuna demanded together with his demise breath that Madara refuse the offer. In his rage, Madara won the Manjiki Sharingan and used it to create a Susanoo, a large, natural chakra warrior much like a samurai for you to take his revenge. But he failed. Tobirama became going to kill Madara. But Hashirama stopped him, and at Madara's request, become inclined to take his personal existence to buy peace. What occurred when they founded Konoha then? Sasuke asked, desiring to recognize the rest of the story. What do you suspect befell? After one of these long and bloody battle, do you truly suppose the awful emotions went away after a few years of peace? No, Hashirama nonetheless desired Madara dead, and Madara feared that Hashirama would smash the Uchiha. Madara's fear became so amazing. He decided to attempt a coup whilst it was announced that Hashirama will be the second. However, he failed to benefit any aid, even from among the different Uchiha. As an end result, he attempted an extraordinary approach, tough Hashirama to single fight. With the Kyuubi's help, their war created the Valley of the Quit. So, even at his lowest, whilst the dream regarded all however dead, he still failed to need Konoha destroyed, Sasuke stated, knowing just how some distance the valley turned into from Konoha. Wait. How do all of this? How ought to you know? The Arashikage blushed, and Sasuke realized the fact. You're the first Arashikage, and also you spied on them. What? They were not the best children tired of getting to combat in a war. We Uzumaki were involved in the clan wars ourselves. I simply passed off to spot them one day and I was intrigued so I kept following them. I fell in love with the dream they created, which is why I based Yuzushiogakure. Then when my father decided that one of them ought to marry my sister Mito, properly, I determined I had to select up my spying conduct once more. Sasuke nodded his head, and he got here up with a solution for the primary Arashikage's question. Naruto knows how much my revenge approached to me, and he wouldn't make me pick out. Hell, if I asked him, he joined me, even though it intended leaving Konoha. Sorry. However, I refuse to select one over the alternative, particularly when I realize I don't need to. But I also won't let my dream of revenge smash our friendship. Now, not awful, child. You determined any other way to win, just bear in mind. There's usually every other solution, even when it appears there is best ways to quit matters. Until then, permits do a little schooling. What do you say? You look like you can be a superb swordsman given the time. Naruto, welcome, my child, welcome home. The old man said. He become large, without difficulty the most important man Naruto had ever seen. Agree with it. He additionally had a complete beard, huge mustache and hair that went down beyond his shoulders, yet despite his electricity, he felt even nicer than Hokage Jiji. This man changed into the type of man or woman that become every person's Jiji, and no longer the sort that acted like it. No, he become honestly the sort that certainly cherished every person he met, and might do something to protect them. I hope you don't thoughts. But we've some paintings to do. What kind of paintings? Arashikage-sama? Naruto requested, doing his excellent to be as respectful as possible. Please, we're circle of relatives. Call me Jiji. And we have many things to work on if you're to end up a real Uzumaki and Arashikage at some point. Arashikage? However, But Sarutobijiji stated I should not emerge as a Kage due to how a great deal paintings it is. I want with the intention to have a family and spend time with them. Sarutobi Hiruzen? So, he's still Hokage then? Too awful. My daughter Kushina had hopes to become Hokage, and boy did she have the fireplace and could to do so. Now, approximately the Arashikage business, it is no longer as bad as being Hokage could be. Konoha is a massive village with top-notch electricity, and for that reason the Hokage has many obligations. Uzushio, however, has constantly been small, and we only take at the duties we experience we can cope with. Until the attack came, I simply labored 5 days per week for approximately 6 hours an afternoon. It is clean to be each Arashikage and a family man if you desire it, so, up for some work? You still have not stated what form of work, Gigi. Ah yes, you're proper, nicely. First of all, I would be coaching you Fuinjutsu, then the way to prompt the seals so Uzushio can live once more. After that we would begin on your competencies as a Jinchuriki. We'll want to speak to the Kyubi for that. After that are hidden jutsus, one in particular that you need to realize. The light dwindled, revealing everybody precisely where that they had been before the flash. But all had modified. Kakashi had resolved to surely begin schooling his group. Sakura stood in a manner that showed she had greater confidence. Sasuke had a brand new solve and Naruto had turned out to be more critical. What surprised all of them though became the small change in their Hitayat. From Konoha's leaf to Uzushio's whirlpool. What is going on? Sakura demanded. As Naruto already is aware of, we've plans for our village to be rebuilt, and we are inviting you to enroll in Uzushio whilst the time comes. And as we have usually been and continually might be allies of Konoha, you can't even call it a betrayal now, can you? The second one Arashikage said, will we ought to be a part of Uzushio? Sasuke requested, and why us? No, you don't have to be part of our village and if you wish, we are able to change your Hitayat back to Konoha's. As for why, Naruto is our blood, and each of you have got tendencies that we have always sought in our shinobi. Best of that is a robust sense of justice, the god of storms answered, and in case you do be given, you can still wait till you and Uzushio are prepared. Kakashi at once refused, resulting in his Hitayat being changed returned to Konoha's. The relaxation of Group 7 hesitated though, finally leading to each privately finding out to really henge their Hitayats to leaf, whilst leaving the Uzushio in place. Very well, then we bid you farewell. Naruto, don't forget to prompt the calling and construction seals and make sure to grab the scrolls from the office. Desirable success. Wait. Sakura referred to as out. Why didn't we see any bodies when we got here right here? The 1/3 Arashikage smiled at his student, due to the fact Uzumaki Kushina took care people as soon as she became achieved avenging us. Kushina and her accomplice, Namikaze Minato, were the handiest Konohanin to return to our useful resource. Even though they had been too overdue, the two of them buried us. Then Kushina activated the seals that have included our secrets until now. You should be pleased with them, Naruto. With that very last, cryptic assertion, they dwindled into nothingness. When the ghosts had vanished, Naruto delved even deeper into the cavern. Beyond the Arashikage statues, the others didn't know what befell. However, 5 minutes after Naruto disappeared, there was a flash of powerful chakra and Naruto reappeared soon after, with orange hair and wearing the Uzumaki uniform. With their final member back with them, they walked lower back up the stairs, with Naruto pushing chakra into the walls every 30 feet or so. Once they arrived inside the office, he pulsed his chakra, revealing a hidden safe that he opened, revealing loads of scrolls that had Sakura drooling to get her hands on. Sorry, Uzumaki and Uzushio's secrets and techniques most effective, Sakura, Naruto stated. Unfortunately, that did not stop her from trying to grasp one, best to be thrown again through a seal. While Naruto became capable of gather approximately a dozen of the scrolls, very specific scrolls Kakashi and Sasuke mentioned, earlier than ultimate the secure and hiding it again. As soon as out of doors, Naruto jumped to the roof of the Arashikage's workplace and shoved a huge quantity of chakra into something. While it could not be visible what he became putting the chakra into, it turned into clear what the effects were, as Uzushio began coming lower back together, growing from the ashes like a phoenix.